I want to take you live to the White House right now, where President Trump is delivering remarks ahead of a Kennedy Center board meeting. Let's listen into what he's saying.
I'll say a few words about what's happening in the Middle East. And if you have a couple of questions, we'll do that, and then we'll get on with our board meeting. So thank you very much for being here. We have a wonderful group of very, very smart, talented patriots at this table. Our powerful military campaign to end the threats posed by the Iranian regime continued in full force over the past few days. They have been literally obliterated. The Air Force is gone. The Navy is gone. Many, many ships have been sunk. They're warfighting ships, but I guess they didn't know how to use them. And anti-aircraft is decimated, their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. Other than that, they're doing quite well. They've been a terror for 47 years, and now I guess the world, through the United States, with the help of Israel, is doing what should have been done many years ago. Should have been done many years ago. Since the beginning of the conflict, we've struck more than 7,000 targets across Iran, and these have been mostly commercial and military targets. We've achieved a 90% reduction in their ballistic missile launches and a 95% reduction in drone attacks. The missiles are trickling in now at very low levels because they don't have too many missiles left. We've also attacked the manufacturing plants, the places where they manufacture the missiles and the drones, and that's going on today. We just hit 3 of them today. And it's getting very hard for them to manufacture. More than 100 Iranian naval vessels have been sunk or destroyed over the last week and a half. That has to be some kind of a record. Additional strikes continue to launch from all directions every single hour. As you know, we attacked Karg Island and knocked it literally, destroyed everything on the island except for the area where the oil is. I call it the pipes. We left the pipes. We didn't want to do that, but we will do that. We can do that on 5 minutes' notice. It'll be over. But for purposes of someday rebuilding that country, I guess we did the right thing. But it may not stay that way. Just one simple word and the pipes will be gone too, but it'll take a long time to rebuild that. We are aggressively dismantling Iran's defense industrial base, and ability to rebuild its missiles and drone capability is getting down to close to zero. And we're hammering their capacity to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, with more than 30 mine-laying ships destroyed. We hit, to the best of our knowledge, all of their mine-laying ships. Now they can put them on other types of ships, I guess, and drop them in. But we don't know that any have even been dropped in. We're not sure that any have been. That's a big negative for them if they do it. It's a form of suicide. But we don't know that they have dropped any in. But we've hit all 30 of their ships and destroyed them. They're all at the bottom of the sea. We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the Strait far more than ours. You know, we get less than 1% of our oil from the Strait, and some countries get much more. Japan gets 95%. China gets 90%. Many of the Europeans get quite a bit. South Korea gets 35%. So we want them to come and help us with the Strait. We have it in very good shape. The countries, I said, we've already taken care of Iran, but now, because of the fact that literally a single terrorist can put something in the water or shoot something or shoot a missile, a small missile, and it's fairly close range because it is a tight area, and which is one of the reasons they've always used that as a weapon. Iran has always used that as an economic weapon, and it's not going to be able to be used very long. Numerous countries have told me they're on the way. Some are very enthusiastic about it, and some aren't. Some are countries that we've helped for many, many years. We've protected them from horrible outside sources, and they weren't that enthusiastic. And the level of enthusiasm matters to me. We have some countries where we have 45,000 soldiers, great soldiers, protecting them from harm's way. And we have done a great job. And when we want to know, do you have any minesweepers? Well, would rather not get involved, sir. I said, for 40 years we're protecting you, and you don't want to get involved in something that is very minor. Very few shots going to be taken because they don't have many shots left. But they said, we'd rather not get involved. I just want the fake news media and everybody else to remember that that was said, because I've been a big critic of all of the protecting of countries, because I know that we'll protect them, and if we ever needed help, they won't be there for us. I've just known that for a long period of time, just like I knew about the Strait, that it would be a weapon, which I predicted a long time ago. Predicted all of this stuff. You guys were very generous in that. I predicted all of it. I predicted Osama bin Laden would knock out the World Trade Center. I made that prediction a year before he did it. I said, you better get him. He's a bad guy. I watched him be interviewed one time, and I said, that's a bad guy. You better get him. 1 year before, exactly. I wrote it in a book. You can even check. About a year before the World Trade Center came down, President Clinton actually had a shot at him, and he didn't take it. Unfortunately, I'm not blaming him for that, but he didn't take it. And he ended up knocking down the World Trade Center, but I predicted that too. I predicted a lot of things. We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the Strait for blood. I mean, these people literally need it. 95% of their energy or their oil comes out of the Strait, and they should be in here very happily helping us. And it's incredible. We have such we're number one in oil by double now. We drill, baby, drill. We're double any other nation, and it's going to be soon triple any other nation. And that doesn't include Venezuela, who's been great. By the way, the relationship with Venezuela has been fantastic. Millions, literally millions of barrels of oil are being taken out, and it's been a great help, and it's been to their great benefit. The president has done a really good job. We get along with him really well. But we've taken out millions of barrels of oil and brought to Houston and other places to the refineries. We have refineries set up specifically for that. And it's been a great relationship, and more and more is happening. It's a tremendous oil source, and we're stepping it up very rapidly. The big companies are going in, and they will actually numbers in a pretty short period of time. Numbers that they've never been able to do, we'll be doing. There's a lot of oil under that land. We strongly encourage the other nations to get involved with us and get involved quickly and with great enthusiasm. I have that from a number of them, and I'd like to say their names, but frankly, I don't know if they would want me to or not, because maybe they don't want to be targeted. But I say, wouldn't matter if you're targeted or not, because this is a paper tiger that we're dealing with now. It wasn't a paper tiger 2 weeks ago. It's a paper tiger now. So now we're going to get down to the reason. We'll take a couple of questions in a moment, but we're going to get down to the reason we're here today. Actually, this was set up a long time ago. It's the Trump Kennedy Center. Over the past year, we've made incredible strides to restore the true purpose and prestige of this revered institution. Together, we're going to ensure it remains the finest performing arts facility of its kind anywhere in the world. And I don't know that it ever really reached that stage, but it will over a period of time. We're rebuilding it. It's in very, very bad condition. It's been let And it's been somewhat of a disaster, to be honest with you. It's been let go to hell. That's what they've done. They did a poor job. They spent money in the wrong places. They built some theaters underneath that nobody uses, little ones, tiny theaters that cost $300 million. And the money was spent incorrectly, wrong. We're dealing with some networks on the possibility of renting those little theaters. Nobody's going to use them. They want the big halls. The halls are going to be incredible. They're in bad shape, but when they're completed, the bones are potentially something that could be unbelievable. So I want to, before we begin, I want to thank Rick Grinnell. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's been unbelievable. He was the ambassador, as you know, to Germany. There was no happier woman in the world than Angela Merkel. Angela. She called me, "Thank you, sir, thank you." Although she liked Rick a lot, there was nobody happier that he was no longer going to be the ambassador to Germany. He was difficult for them. He was not your typical ambassador. He was the opposite. He would do what was best for the United States, not for Germany. And I want to tell you, he did a great job. So good that I put him in charge of a thing called intelligence. And something he didn't really want to do, but he did it, and he did it incredibly well. There were a lot of leakers. He found out the leakers. And when he didn't find out who the leaker was in a certain area, he fired everybody. And he went into one room where there was leaks coming out. These are long-term problems that these various places have had. And he said, "Who's the one that leaked this?" And they wouldn't admit it, so he fired the whole room. And he did a good job, I'll tell you. He was very good. And during this transition period, I asked Rick if he would run it, because we wanted to see. And if you remember when we first took it over, I didn't do it with enthusiasm. I did it because somebody had to do it. I had to turn it around because it was failing. It would have closed, and physically it would have almost fallen down. It was in very bad shape. The steel columns outside, as an example, were meant to be covered. You know, exposed steel is unusual to have in building. What I do best in life is build. I build buildings really well and under budget and ahead of schedule. That's what I do, unlike the Fed building, which is going to cost billions of dollars. It may never open. I mean, right now, we have a wonderful a wonderful new head of the Fed coming in. I don't know if he'll ever be able to occupy this complex that was destroyed by Jerome Too Late Powell. I call him too late because he's always too late with interest. Should cut interest rates. He should cut them right now. They should have a special meeting. What's a better time to cut interest rates than now? A third-grade student would know that. But that's a terrible thing. But what I do is build. I build great stuff. And what we're going to do is, right outside. In fact, if you look behind me, see the nice gold curtains? If you want to look into a nice foundation and you want to see a lot of work, very deep, very, very deep for specific reasons, we have a magnificent ballroom being built, because this is the biggest room, and it holds like 98 people for dinner. But behind me, you're going to have a ballroom that this building and the people occupying it, in particular, every president for 150 years has clamored for a ballroom, a large, beautiful room. This is a cocktail room, and this whole floor will end up being a cocktail room for the cocktail area or pre-area for the ballroom before dinners. So we'll have heads of state. We can't even do a heads of state dinner. Usually what they do is they would do them on the lawn with a tent. But when it rains, the lawn is very low. And you know the land in Washington. It was built on swampy, wet land. And when it rains and you have the King of Saudi Arabia, we have, as an example, the King of the UK, I would say King of England, who's a great guy. He's coming in very soon. And when it rains, you know what happened? The rain would go over their feet. It would be about 4 or 5 inches over their shoes. This was not good. And it rained a lot. So we're building, finally, because I do that, And by the way, no taxpayer money. I want to put that, zero. It's going to be, it's on time, on budget. It'll be under budget. Literally, we're having it under budget, other than we've upgraded it in terms of the marbles we're using. We're using onyx and stones that are incredible. But it'll be something really spectacular. I'm looking at Mr. Steve Wynn, who's over there. He built a spectacular building, and he knows Trump builds a spectacular building. I build better buildings than him. I don't care what he said. But Steve is over here, and he really, with his incredible wife, Andrea. And thank you both for being here. Andrea's on the board, and Steve is so in love with his wife, he asked whether or not he could come. And I can say the same thing for the great Bob Kraft. He's got a wife that's so wonderful. He said, do you think I could come? She didn't have to accept that, you know. She could have said no. But Bob said, I would like to come. So, Bob, we will not let you vote, although his vote would be a good vote. He will vote for the proper thing. But it's good to have you both here. These are two great couples that know a lot about the things I'm talking about, like fixing, whether it's building a stadium or building a building. They know how to do it. So thank you, Steve, very much. But we've made incredible strides over the past year. If you remember, I said I want to run it for a year just to see, because the place is falling down. It's horrible. Air conditioning, heating is going to be ripped out in its entirety, and it needs new. It's old. It's, how many years is it, Rick? What's the total? 50, almost, yeah, over 50. And we have 50-year-old air conditioning, more than that, actually. And it's in bad shape. Everything's in bad shape. It's got to be redone. So I said, let's run it for a year just to see how it works. It's better than, you can't just go into something and try and figure it out. And we figured it out over the year. And you have to close it, putting new marbles in, beautiful, beautiful marbles. When you do marbles, you can't have people walking over the marble every night as it's drying and setting and going to a play. So we thought the best way, what I know best in the world is construction. The best way to do it is close it, do it properly, and reopen it, have a grand reopening. And when it's finished, it's going to be far better than it was when it was originally built. When it was originally built, it was good. It has one thing that's very good. It has great sound. I think there's a lot of luck in sound. You have some of the big opera houses. I don't want to get involved with saying which one, but in New York, as an example, where the acoustics were never good, and they've ripped it apart 4 times and rebuilt it, and it was never good. The good thing about the Kennedy Center, the acoustics are good, and they'll only be enhanced based on what we're doing. A lot of it has to do with the stones and the stones you use, the marbles you use, etc. Over the past year, we've made incredible strides to restore the true purpose and prestige that this building will soon gain, I think, at a higher level than it had before. Together, we're going to ensure it remains the finest and will become the finest performing arts facility anywhere in the world. It's got the location, and it will have the building. It's got good bones. It's got good structure. Again, they wanted to originally cover the exposed steel. It was painted a cheap gold, and we turned it into a very expensively painted white, very heavy coat of very powerful white paint meant for steel, exposed steel. A very different kind of paint, but it's almost like putting a stone over the top of it. And the color is white, shiny white, and it looks, a lot of people have commented, it looks so much better. Before they had the steel painted gold, and the gold was very cheap. There's actually never been a paint that's made that will look like gold. Steve will tell you that. You either gold leaf it or use real gold bullion, or you use a different color, Steve. Nobody's ever been able to make a gold paint that looks real. Little minor thing for the media. I'm sure you're thrilled with hearing that. But there's never been a paint. I said, someday I'm going to discover a paint where you don't have to actually use gold leaf. Gold leaf is a very, very big and expensive process, but it's a beautiful thing, but not when you use paint. So we got rid of the gold columns, which looked always terrible. They looked cheap and they looked fake. very much like the media, actually. And we took the columns and we painted them white. Before we painted them, Matt, very importantly, we structuralized them. We replaced bad steel that was very badly rusting. I mean, these are columns that are holding up a building. And we had to replace areas of columns that were actually rusted out because it was in very bad shape. It's not even describable how bad this building was, both inside and out. I want to thank Rick Grinnell, but you really did a great job, Rick, on this, and we appreciate it. I'm looking for your next venture, because he really was. There was a story he got fired. He didn't get fired. He was here for a short period of time, for a year, figuring it out with Matt and everybody else. And Matt now is going to take over, and he's a pro at construction, great at construction. And I think Matt would like to run the facility too. He's fallen in love with it, and I think he'd do a good job. But if I don't think he will do a good job, I'll say, Matt, you're fired. I'm getting somebody else. So you're under no pressure, Matt, okay? It's like Bob Kraft. If a football player doesn't perform well, typically you will fire him immediately, Bob. Do you ever let them stay around for 4 or 5 years if they're bad? Not too many times, right? So, anyway, I learned from him. So I want to thank also Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's been fantastic. I don't know, is Pam here someplace? Oh, hello, Pam. Good. She's been great.